Hello everyone and welcome back. I am doing yet another reaction to one of my viewers' videos. Today we have, hold on, Batman himself. He's going to be playing Hwei in Silver 1 Elo. I believe he has an alternate account in Emerald, and his Hwei is somewhere in, I think, Silver and Gold. He said he wants some tips on how to get better at Hwei, so we're going to try to give him some tips, and hopefully he'll have something to learn. Again, just as a disclaimer, in no way is this meant to be mean or rude in any way. I'm not trying to call any players out on how they play. This is simply analytical and trying to give him some tips on how to be a better Hwei player. So without taking too long, we're going to get right into this. It looks like he is against an Aurelion Sol, which is one of Hwei's best matchups. And from what I saw, he will be running Arcane Comet with Flash and Teleport. So let's see how this plays out. Looks like we've got a pretty standard Doran's Ring and 2-pot start. That's not bad. Looks like we're going straight to lane, not messing around in the jungle at all. Could have been a good aggro start against Aurelion because he has really bad trading level 1 and early levels in general. If he just didn't miss that Q, that would have been worth. It looks like Aurelion Sol started with his Q instead of his Vortex, so he's not going to be getting stacks quite yet. Right there, just as a general rule, when you're trading against Aurelion, stand behind your minions. You're guaranteed to win like every trade against this champion. Hwei has pretty much every option to avoid everything Aurelion Sol can do. So yeah, just stick behind minions and make sure you land autos and trades like that, because he just kind of got auto-attacked once, didn't really get anything out of it. Oh well. Another part of trading here is that Aurelion Sol is pretty deep up in the wave. He's got minions all the way up here that he could be sitting back and farming, but instead he's standing kind of in this position. He should be able to land free spells on him and auto attacks, especially as long as you stand right behind your minions and just walk up and auto attack him level 1. He's going to lose most of his trades. He's either forced to auto attack back or try to get to a position where he can actually hit his Q on you. So this is a huge early game advantage for Hwei. Right there, hit level 2. Aurelion just used his E. This would be a perfect time to, instead of try to lay down his big Fisher, his QE rather, he should just be landing, try to poke down Aurelion Sol as much as possible, because the more he gets to free farm and get stacks from his passive, the more detriment you're going to be at. So Hwei actually, this is one of the rare matchups that Hwei is actually more dominant in the early levels, so take as many opportunities as you can to poke him. I'd say right there as well, with the way he set up his Fisher, he could have placed his E a little bit above him to drag him into it right here. If you placed it at the center of your cursor right here, it would have pulled him into it and gotten the passive op as well as an auto attack. He just kind of waited a little too long and caught him outside of it and just didn't get quite as much damage out of it. Interesting EQ. For those, if I say EQ, it's E1. I mostly go by EQ, EW, whatever, instead of the numbers, because, I don't know, it just makes sense to me. There's not really a lot of purpose in landing an E1 right here, because he cancels his Q, he's not really doing anything except for farming, and plus he could have used that to deny the siege minion if he waited a little bit longer. So instead it's kind of just wasted, and now you're down a little bit mana. So I would just be more patient with spells and try not to use one spell without using another, because that's where all your damage comes from in the early levels, is by getting your passive off. Unfortunate. Good cancel on the Q channel right there. Looks like his team gets first blood. You can see right here that Aurelion is straight up landing spells on him for free, but he's still losing trades. Between just getting hit by auto attacks and minions. I mean, look at this right here. He's hitting him with free stuff, and he still lost that trade. This is a big show of how much you can really bully Aurelion Sol early game this way. I mean, with the lights up right now, I would just walk up and just start beating on him. I mean, look at how easy it is to win these trades. Apparently, we're going to see a lot of this as well. I would say, I mean, you can be like crazy aggressive right now. You've got vision of an enemy jungler, and your jungler is up top there as well. Either you go full aggro on Aurelion and burn his summoners, or you get a kill, or, you know, you rotate up and help your Amumu with the Scuttle Crab fight. I mean, either way, you guys are at a huge advantage here. Here's a tricky point. That's another one of those situations of trying to land multiple of your spells together so you get the most damage out of it. When Aurelion is this low, you should start fishing for kills because you have the advantage. He has no mana. I would save your spells for any kill opportunity rather than trying to push in the wave. You want to focus on pushing in the wave after you've killed your opponent or they've been forced to back. Little jungle banter. Interesting flash from Warwick. That's unfortunate. Could have gone better. I mean, I would just say positioning here and using more reliable spells. I know Warwick just uses his flash, and there was really unfortunate timing with the EE. Again, I would just try to hold your EQ for situations like this because it's a much stronger CC, and against Warwick, Warwick's going to want to be on top of somebody. Unfortunate flash. Maybe this is just some lack of map awareness as well. He has his Thresh walking right up river and is instead flashing into the mid lane when he could have flashed behind Amumu or, you know, towards Thresh where he could have been lanterned. Not terrible. Looks like they're going to pick up both of these kills, hopefully. Maybe not. This spot right here, I want to make a point. I'm honestly astonished that didn't land on him. I don't know how that didn't hit him. I want to make a point that the W3 is like super good for just auto attack trading because the damage you get from them just from auto attacking is insanely good, and it's still outmatching Aurelion's channeled Q this early in the game because he has no scaling yet. You could just straight up, instead of just throwing spells at him, you could just straight up walk at him and just start auto attacking him. I mean, as soon as this is down and you're out of it, you're free to trade him as much as you want. As far as lane positioning goes, he's doing a decent job of being behind minions, but in this scenario, he's more dominant in this matchup and should be focusing on trying to bully Aurelion Sol. He does also have vision on the bottom side of his lane, so he should be playing towards this side and not the side that he doesn't have vision on. Right there, anytime Aurelion Sol is standing still is your opportunity to hit him. I would say use your E3 and then just QQ right after, and that's free damage, super free trade. Or if you wanted something that works on Aurelion Sol almost 90% of the time is use your E2 and place it right underneath him because he cannot stop channeling and move out of it fast enough to dodge it, and that gives you a free QW on him. Anytime he's farming like that with his Q and his E, you just need to completely deny him because that scaling is what makes him such a strong champion late game. Good trade. That was a nice use of the E3. A little late on the ult because he had his W still up, unfortunately. This is another one of those times. Definitely play more towards your bot side. Amumu just came up from river and you have vision. You know where your jungler is and they didn't see the enemy. So it's safe to assume that they're on the top side, especially with grub spawning. So, you know, play towards the side that you have more information on. See, right here, you can be more aggressive. Your jungler's not too far away. I don't think it's a bad idea to be aggressive here. I would just hold on to your E. But just letting Aurelion free farm like that is always an issue. We now know exactly where Warwick is because we got the notification on the Void Grubs. Let's see if we can make a roam here. Maybe not. I was going to say if Warwick did end up committing to that gank on Garen, that would have been a free roam. Unfortunate miss on the Q. Right here is where you really want to start being, like, just shoving in as much as possible. Because Aurelion's at a disadvantage. He wants to back. He doesn't have teleport up. You just need to spam and get through these waves. Because you know Warwick was just on grubs and Amumu's right on your top side. I would just be hyper aggressive here. Oh, I think he did it. Hold on. Beautiful. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. As soon as you see him channel his Q, you throw your EW on him, and it is almost guaranteed to land every time. It is such a strong move against Aurelion. I think the unfortunate part is that he just used his Q on the wave. In this matchup, you really want to focus on using your abilities on Aurelion rather than the wave, because you can push out pretty decently compared to him, even early game, with minimal items, but you can just bully the hell out of Aurelion so easily. So this is definitely a missed out kill, unfortunately, unless he picks it up somewhere. But you don't have ult, you don't really need it, and you can be more aggressive because you have teleport up, which means you can recover from any kind of mistake. This is a tricky spot. He's got Vision of Warwick down there, or did at least for a second, and he's got no mana. Unfortunate time to be aggressive. Should be able to walk away from this. Just barely. At least the ult paid off. It slowed down Warwick just enough. I think just some poor decision making at that point. Looks like we didn't use teleport. That was a good choice because the wave stopped right in front of his turret, so we didn't need to use it. And that is personally why I don't like teleport. I find it gets wasted by it being not used. It's just a tricky summoner that it's like either going to make or break a game or a team fight. But most of the time you just end up holding on to it way too much. It's an issue that I struggle with, and it's an issue that I see a lot of other players struggle with. I just don't think it's that strong of a summoner. Good poke. That's what we like to see. Just get him off the wave. See? Free damage. And right now you could just walk right up and just start auto-attacking him. Tough spot right there. Instead of doing that set of abilities, what I would have done is force him up into this corner where he kind of panic tries to dodge things, and he ends up pushing himself against this wall. Instead of trying to land your Q first or lead with it, if you do want to lead with your Q, I would use a QE and lay it down like right about here so we can't go back to turret, and then go with E3. Or instead, you could throw your E2 right here just so he's forced to either walk into it and get caught or walk out and go into a bad position. And then you can follow up with whatever other spells you have. Leading with your damage is just not always the best answer. Right there, would have used that to auto-attack him at least once before walking away because you get that bonus passive damage. Right here, he should really be looking for picks. That should be a free kill. Interesting use of the Fisher. I would have opted for the QW, but you know what? That works just fine. Good idea pushing here, but honestly, what I would have done probably is walk top. You still have teleport up, so you can recover your lane if you need to, but you have a Mumu and Garen when Malphite is completely pushed up. This would have been a free roam, especially with Warwick being right there too. That, and you can't get too much with Aurelion Sol having teleport up. Good rotation to stop the grubs, it looks like. Mumu's coming as well. Good idea, laying down the Fisher. That move is so strong for pits. It is so incredibly good in areas like this. That was a really good choice, laying that down right underneath him. Looks like we've got a roam to dragon fight. Leading with ults when you're alone. Unfortunate positioning. Good flash, it looks like. We should just barely make it out of this. Very close. Good little pick there. I would honestly just walk away. Good QW. Oh, he's landing spells. That was... I want to run through this again because this is a really funny fight, actually. So here we see, looks like bottom lane and jungle are on dragon. He tries to push in Aurelion before he starts moving. Right here, I would start throwing some spells at him just to kind of ward him off or whittle him down before a fight because, you know, he's right behind you. And your team has yet to move up into a position behind pit like this, so you're kind of on your own. These guys could collapse on you really fast, especially with the Ashe ult being up, and you don't really have any help. It just kind of... silly enough, it actually worked out kind of well. Warwick gets the ult taken away from his backline. Good choice with the W2. And this is what I see a lot of players struggle with, is just walking away, and he actually did this really well. People just need to walk away with Hwei. You have so much range and distance and zoning on your abilities, you don't need to be close to anybody. Gets a free little pick. That's good. I really like the way he lands this Q2 on Aurelion. Honestly, I could have positioned it like a little closer to the center of this. It would have been harder to dodge, but it landed anyways, so that's really good. Overall, a little sloppy, but it works out. That guy's name is I1B Jinx Toilet. This is something that I'm surprised I'm actually surprised by what he's doing here. He is really, really low health, and a lot of players would kind of get freaked out at this and would just back. But he's not doing that. He's staying because he knows, I hope he knows, Aurelian's dead, Jin's dead. Aurelian doesn't have teleport up. He gets to stay and push this lane for free because nobody's alive. There's a lot of players that would look at a situation like that and just leave after a fight and not look for any kind of pushing, but he actually stayed and shoved out the wave a little bit. Looks like Tower is in good health. I can't see what he's building. I don't know if he's going to bring up the scoreboard up at some point. We'll see. So I can't really... Oh, wait, there it is. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so it looks like we're rushing Blackfire Torch and some Sorcerer Boots. He's got a tier that he's been stacking. That's good. 311, 113 CS at 14 minutes. That's honestly not bad. It could be better. It could always be better because that's something everybody struggles with is farming, but that's actually really decent. I personally still yet to play with Blackfire Torch because I have not played in Split 2 a single time. I assume this is a good item. Looks like everybody's building it, so it must be good. As a first item, I don't really know, but if it works, it works. Looks like some just back and forth pushing right now. I think they might have vision of Warwick. He's standing on a ward. Amumu's still bot side. Let's see what we do here. Good. Very good use of the E2 to get vision on that bush because it's really, really solid for that, and I think a lot of players don't abuse that enough. The downside is that even if you do throw that and you get vision, it still gives the enemy enough time to walk out and go straight at you without getting hit by it, and then you don't have a hard CC to peel for yourself. Not a bad idea. Instead, what you can do is face check with your Q. Literally any form of your Q, because you have Arcane Comet, whatever you hit in that bush is going to set off Arcane Comet, and you'll know somebody's there, and then you still have a hard crowd control under your belt. Looks like, I think we're making a good choice here. Great lead with the ult. I would say positioning, don't be so close. You do have Aurelian coming up right behind you. You don't need to walk this deep into them because your Garen's already losing the fight. I would get the ult out, lace down some spells, and start walking back towards your Amumu, towards where it's more safe. Because now you're right in front of these guys. Starts to walk back towards the Amumu, has the right idea. I think just some poor positioning, good leading with the ult. It would have been a really good fight, especially considering Herald is up, had they won this and gotten that. But I think just walking up too close is the big problem there. Okay, Amumu just ran down Malphite. I will say at this point in the game, this happens a lot in lower elo games, is objectives kind of just get overlooked. It looks like Garen's just soloing it, which is good. It is 16 minutes in, almost 17. I would definitely start focusing on getting that turret down because it looks like he wants to make a lot more roams and help the team more, especially top lane, because bot's doing great. And if you can get bot and mid pushed out, then you have more control over Dragon. And Dragon is a hugely important objective. They're down one Dragon, which isn't too bad. But getting that mid turret out would make such a huge difference, so I would focus really, really hard at this point in the game of just shoving out your lane and getting that turret down. Looks like he's getting his Herald interrupted, unfortunately. It should reset before they can actually do it. I wouldn't even bother with this anymore. I would just go right back to mid and push. At this point, you could go back mid and probably get that turret uninterrupted, because they're gonna want to get Herald. Get the pick on Warwick. That was definitely on the Warwick there. He was super greedy and just gave up a free Herald by just running into Hwei there. Definitely his fault on that, but you know what, that works out for him. I'm surprised by how far back he's playing against this Aurelian that is very much losing his lane. He should be a lot more aggressive, especially considering he knows where Malphite is and Warwick just died, so he can be super aggressive. Yeah, just throw spells all the time. Right here, it is almost 19 minutes in the game. I believe this is the first teleport I've seen him use. That is my big problem with teleport. I'll say it every time. It is almost 19 minutes into the game, and this is the first time he's using it. It's not necessarily a fault of his own, but it's just not that useful. It has too long of a cooldown with too little of a reward if it's not used properly. I just think it is really, really weak, especially mid lane. It looks like all he's done is teleport back to lane to roam towards Dragon. Could have TP'd right onto a ward instead, because the bot lane's losing really hard, so they kind of have an advantage no matter what. Definitely a safer choice to go to lane and then make the roam, but at the same time, teleport is just weak. I just can't recommend it. And now that he's actually used teleport, you don't even have to stay here and help with this dragon. You want to do everything you can to keep that mid turret healthy, and Aurelian's getting free pushing on it right now. It's just another reason to stay mid and try to push out that lane as much as possible. Looks like we've got some rotations happening. He has to be careful here because he is strong and that Jhin is incredibly weak. Makes Jhin flash. I have to look at the order of spells that he uses here, and I believe his Q should be up. Unless I'm crazy. Okay, so this is a point that I made earlier, I believe. Jhin is extremely weak, and Hwei excels at just executing marksmen because they are the worst class in the game by far. Absolutely free pick. Good idea leading with the ult after the hard CC. Because that ult slows to like 90% or 99%, I think, so it's basically a root. And that point, you're almost guaranteed to land your Q2. Instead, he opted for the Fissure when it's just barely out of range. Try to go for the execute. If you don't land it, you know, he flashes. He's going to flash anyways right here. It just is more likely to be a kill. That and the damage from the Fissure just comes out so much slower. Okay. Right here, I wonder if he's going to do it. Gets hit. In a situation like this, laying down the Fissure again, just in bad situations, you know Jin's probably going to have ult up, and you know exactly where he's firing from. If you hold your Q, you can execute him because there is no way he's walking out of it. If you have your Q up, you can absolutely land Q2 on him completely free and get the kill. Unfortunate timing on the abilities. Underestimating them and getting caught by the Ashe ult, it's just kind of a misplay here. I would have saved Flash for the 4th shot, because that's the most crucial one. Flashing one of the earlier shots doesn't really do much. Just, you know, a little thing. I will say, though, against this team, I would have definitely gone Shadow Flame by now as probably a second item because of how strong it is for executing squishies. Aurelian, Jhin, and Ashe are so easy to execute with that item on hand. That's a situation right there. This could have been probably a free kill. You get the free E1 on him because it's almost guaranteed. Free ult. And instead of QQ, I would go with the Q2 because it does a lot more damage if it's isolated. And it's much more likely to execute because he is low health. The Q1 is more reliable. You're more likely to hit it, but you definitely could have killed Aurelian here. Have to be careful of the Jhin Ashe ult combo. Everybody's really low. He doesn't want to get greedy here because, yeah, I would just get out of this turret and let it go. Especially with Malphite there, it's too risky. Should be able to walk out of this. Oh, it's unfortunate. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta let turrets go. Looks like we're teleporting for what should be a dragon fight. There's no turrets to defend right now, so instead of being, like, crazy aggro here, we could just be getting dragon for free, because now they're in a position where they're getting kind of pincered. I know Warwick and Ashe aren't really too strong, so it shouldn't matter. Warwick's just running straight into the middle of them. But this is what I'm worried about, is when they get into positions like that and they start losing a lot of health. Luckily, the enemy team is just throwing their faces into the team. But with how important dragons are, especially Infernal Drakes, I would have made that TP, utilized it for the dragon, because there's nothing to lose mid or bot. That's more of a team play rather than just a him play. Unfortunate miss on the E1. That sucks. It is getting to late game Aurelian, so that's really unfortunate. Looks like their team is trying to do the Baron. It's a really bad spot. Malphite's playing this really well and just zoning them off. Unfortunate miss on the ult. Would have saved that for a backliner or something. Malphite has no ult. Baron goes down. This is where they should just back out. They should just get out of here. Looks like enemy team is actually running away because I think they know they're technically weaker. And somebody should be going mid and just immediately shoving this out. Perfect, just like that. Looks like we got a decent shove out on mid. It's rotating top to stop Aurelion. This should be an absolutely free kill. With a teleport coming in. I will say the spacing on that is unfortunate. As soon as you see Aurelion's E go down, you want to get out of it. Just immediately walk backwards. You have options to hit people from far away. Don't take the risk and get in front of him. Aurelion just scales so hard late game. You want to play your distance to your advantage. Looks like the lead is just really being thrown here. Nobody's staying in base to defend. Everybody's kind of pushing out and making reckless choices. Cleanse from Jhin. He leads. It looks like he leads a lot with his Q3, which is a good spell for clearing and everything. But you really want to use other stuff when you're trying to hit champions. It's a lot more consistent and usually does a lot more damage. This Malphite is really taking advantage of his champion and just zoning off the backline completely. This is one of those times where you really want to get out of here and go push a lane to put them at some kind of disadvantage, rather than trying to stick around and fight, because it's just not strong enough to take on 4 people at once. Should have played a lot farther back. Looks like he's gonna die here. Doesn't have much of a choice. That's unfortunate. Yeah, just especially when your team's going down and the enemy team is all alive and healthy, you really gotta play safe. This is one of those points in the game where teleport really sucks, where you're at a huge disadvantage and the lanes are mostly open, but there's no really good way to use it. It's just, you can't get out and push a lane by yourself because somebody will catch up to you when you're squishy, so you'll go down fast. One of the few times it's good is for getting to a team fight or going back to base to defend. It's, at this point in the game, I just find teleport to be especially useless. Looks like he's focusing on holding out the mid lane. That's really good. You've got vision of, looks like a few of the enemy team, so you can play there pretty safely right now. Good dodges on a Jhin ult. Yeah, I would just immediately start recalling and get back to base. Looks like his teammates are just getting caught out again. Almost guaranteed to be a Baron fight. Let's see how this TP works out. This looks like it should actually work really well. Not too bad. I'll be focusing on Aurelion here. Jhin's okay. Good picks, good picks. That is exactly what I was hoping would happen when he made that teleport. They've weakened them. They should still be able to do Baron technically, and they also have Dragon coming up soon. So this was a really, really good TP. I'd say the positioning is a little bit weak, and definitely focus on Aurelion here. I would opt to try to throw your ult on Ashe, because that zones out Aurelion even more or forces him into the fight. Jhin's going to be a free kill no matter what because he's so close to you, and Malphite is not even paying attention to you because he wants Velios. So planting your ult right on Aurelion or Ashe would have been better there, and then you can focus on Jhin with your other abilities while they kind of scramble around and escape your ult. But otherwise, this works out pretty well. Malphite's doing his job again, going straight to the back line. Jhin's just whiffing his ult real bad. This shouldn't do much. They should be able to just push Malphite off slowly and peel him down. Amumu and Garen are really distracted with everything else. The pick on Jhin might turn this fight. Garen's got some decent scaling right now. They are scraping out of these fights on a razor-thin wire. I would say just get out of this fight, let them take the dragon, and start pushing mid. Yeah, no matter how well they play this, they're going to be at a disadvantage, and dying here is really, really bad. Oh, nice flash. Good idea not getting picked. If you got picked there, that very easily could have been the end of the game. Looks like the enemy team is just scrambling and getting picked off in every which way, which is really good for his team. Malphite shouldn't be able to do anything on his own because he's full tank. This looks like it should lead up to the end of the game. Thresh coming in clutch with a lantern. Good choice with the W2. Free picks, picks on picks. Everybody's on like a 40-second timer. This is a great time to recall, get an item in TP bot lane or mid lane, and just immediately shove out. See if he does it. Genius. Uses his teleport perfectly. This should be the end of the game. Lay down those Q3s and just hit those turrets. Use your W3 and just wail on those turrets. Even if you get an open base, that's good enough to come back and finish the game off. Malphite whiff's ult basically only hits 2 people. They're going to get whittled down from that Blackfire and Leandries. Hopefully Thresh body blocks this. Looks like it's turning pretty sour pretty fast. Oh, the Zhonya's, that's unfortunate. They shouldn't be able to end off of this, I wouldn't think. Their base is practically open. Garen is in there. Probably not a good idea. Looks like Baron is coming up pretty soon. His team should definitely be trying to play this really safe, because if one of them gets picked, there's a pretty good chance they could just push out and take the whole base. That Ashe ult could have ended the game right there. This is a great time to force Baron, because they're going to be forced to come out and fight it. I would have gotten out of there so fast. That was a really, really good use of his spells. That was one of those riskier plays that actually worked out really, really well. I like that. These situations are really terrifying when you don't even know if you have vision in this bush or not. I don't even think anybody swept it. So this is crazy. This is absolutely ludicrous play. Honestly, 90% of the time this shouldn't work. But it actually does. It actually works out so well because Hwei just pops people late game like that. Even if he just got one pick off of that, that would have been easily would have been the game. And they should be able to end right here. Absolutely. That was quite a match. I think overall, not bad. I think there's a little excessive use of the Q3 and could be better use of your crowd controls and timing them. Overall, I think the main things to take away from this, a little bit of positioning, especially mid to late game, who you're getting close to, who you're trying to get far away from, who you're landing your spells on, when and where to place your crowd controls especially is a huge thing. I would say for the early game, the build looks fine. Early game, knowing your matchups, this may just be not getting used to the Aurelion matchup. Limit testing yourself and seeing what you're capable of against certain champions is one great way to get better at Hwei and know your matchups really well. And Aurelion is one of those matchups where you absolutely dominate him early game, which is a rare thing for Hwei because he has a pretty weak early game most of the time. But Aurelion is easily stomped. You have to shut him out and keep him from farming so he doesn't scale so hard in the late game, or else it will be very devastating for you and your entire team. So I would say a lot of that early game pressure could be applied, and just better use of your spells in those trading situations, and just be more aggressive. Personally, obviously I don't like teleport. I wouldn't opt for it in a match like this too, especially with Warwick and Malphite. The Ghost would be great for repositioning all the time, and honestly teleport is just kind of sketchy to use. I much prefer Ghost. If you want, you could even take Barrier. But overall, not a bad game. Not bad at all. Tide's kind of turned a few times, but rotating towards those objectives and getting your lane shoved out and that turret down mid to late game is really important, especially against somebody like Aurelion. Overall, not bad. Thank you again to the actual one and only Batman for submitting a video for me to review. If you guys would also like to have me review one of your Hwei gameplays, join the Discord and my YouTube. There's a link in my description. Pop in there, say hi, at me, whatever, and drop a video or DM me a video, and I will be happy to review it. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.